Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are and whenever you are. Welcome to another episode of the Community Live Stream. My name is Chuck Tomasi from ServiceNow, bringing you all kinds of random and obscure and hopefully helpful information from our community as I go through various questions and issues and whatever I can find to help them and explain the thought process that goes on behind resolving these questions. Sometimes it's a little exploration. Sometimes it's a little bit of random knowledge from 10 years of doing this. Who knows? Where this information comes from is that's the magic I'm not going to share with you. Thank you for joining me live on the Ustream. If you are watching this on Ustream, I encourage you to subscribe to the channel. My goodness, for the one video that I came out with yesterday, there were about 4 others that the community had published as well. So there are lots of people creating content for this channel, and I encourage you to stay subscribed so you can gain all of that wonderful information, or at least be notified, and then you can watch whatever might interest you in there. Give me a shout out in the chat room. Let me know where you're from, the weather, say hi. There's usually our core group of people. If you want to be part of that core group of people, you got to say hi. Otherwise, I don't know you're out there, and I can't say hello. So I'd love to do that and make you part of this elite community, as it were. We also simulcast this on Twitch over at twitch.tv/NOWCommunity. Looks like we have somebody watching over there now. Thank you very much. Again, give us a shout out on the chat. I'll be watching for comments. If you do have a question about ServiceNow, please post it in the community, because searching videos is not the most fun thing to do. Searching the community is very easy to do. Just double check, make sure I got audio. I forgot to do a quick audio check this morning. Good morning, Debarada. Hope you have a wonderful day or had a wonderful day. The community is where we post all of our questions. There are different forums, so depending on whether you're talking about HR or GRC or security or performance analytics or ITSM or the platform, there's a different place for that. And use the topic tags effectively, and you will have a better chance of not only getting your question answered, because the right people will be watching for it. There are certain people that subscribe to just a specific forum, but also other people coming along and searching. I'm sure you've run into this when you go to search for something, you go, well, I can't find it. Well, it may not be in the place you expect it. Sort of that old category versus searching thing. This uses the best of both worlds to get the information organized in a way that you can most effectively use it. So that's the community. Also encourage you to go over to developer.servicenow.com, where we have a lot of great information, including it's more than just a free personal developer instance. I want to get some information up on my screen so I can tell you more about that. The developer.servicenow.com looks like this, and that is also over there. We have free personal developer instances where you can go and experiment and try and turn on plugins. And if you screw the whole thing up, you can wipe it out and start over. But you do have to use it periodically, because it is a free resource. If you don't use it, it gets reclaimed so that others can use it. And we're not sitting on idle resources, spending money on things that aren't being used. Nobody likes that. Along with the scripting APIs and the meetups and the personal developer instances, we've got learning plans. And we've got new learning plans that have just launched. So be on the lookout for the automated test framework learning. There's been a lot of demand for that. I'm going to read this right from the email that I got last night. Want to do fast error-free testing on your ServiceNow applications? Learn to use ATF for regression testing, test-driven development, and other application testing using ServiceNow's native test framework. ATF sample tests are mandated for all BUs for Madrid. We are doing this internally. We are using ATF. So if it doesn't work, we're going to know about it first. Madrid comes after London. London is this fall. Madrid will be in Q1 of 2019. Get up to speed quickly on this technology to simplify this requirement for your teams. The value of having automated test framework is so you can do quicker deployments of your software into test and production, but also validate that software when it comes time for an upgrade. If you want to get to London faster, have your ATF stuff lined up. You can push a button, run the test suites, and know that you are clear to go. Or if you have issues to remediate, you can do that quickly. We also have a REST integration learning path In fact, I'm going to go under Learn Training. See if I can find these for you real quick. Getting started, my first application, securing application, automate REST integrations, inbound, outbound, script to REST APIs. There are REST integrations over there. RESTful web services allow ServiceNow to interact with other applications. In the REST integrations course, students will learn, it's probably going to be under learning plans. There we go. Look at this. Good stuff. Looks like I started some stuff that I need to finish at some point. Students will learn how to configure ServiceNow to be both a web service provider and a web service consumer. We also have an ISV quick start. And that means if you want to be an independent software vendor and create applications and post them to the store, then we have a new learning plan for partners in the Technology Partner Program. That is a cost to enroll in that and be a technical partner program that's new to the platform. If you're new to the platform, this would be something you want to take a look at and get up to speed quickly. This complements the more comprehensive learning plan for partners that wish to embed their offering within the Now platform. So those are my announcements. We also have, let me put that away. Did I miss something? I missed something. Hold on. Something might be awry. Let me get back to the streaming screen. Yep, we're good. Okay. Scared me for a second. Happy Friday, Apurva. Good to hear from you. Let me put that away and go to the events. Most of these events are done. This was for this week, but there is still one for Honeywell. I'm going to update this on Monday, so we'll have some future events. I'm going to update this once a week so that you have an idea what's going on. But if you want to keep really up to date, follow me on LinkedIn, and then every time I make a post with an event, you will see it. You will get notified and say, hey, Chuck is doing this. Chuck is announcing ServiceNow has this event, whether it's HR, CSM, or any of the other stuff that we've got. There's a ton of events coming up. Webinars, meetups. Now Forum is coming up in the fall. So I think there's Sydney and Calgary and, oh my goodness, who knows where else. So I will keep you posted on those. The other one is our developer meetups. If you're not familiar with the developer meetups, please go to developer.servicenow.com or meetup.com and look for the ServiceNow developer meetups. We have a ton of them, and if you are interested in doing ServiceNow development, this is the place for you. Great way to mingle with your peers, build your network, learn more about ServiceNow. Lots of them coming up in the month of June, and I've even got some into July. Again, I'll update this on Monday because obviously the one in Tampa Bay is over, and next week we've got a few more that'll get going. So happy Friday, Chris and Christopher. Good to talk to you. Glad you could join us. Tell all your friends. All right. I think that's it for the particulars at the beginning. What do you say we get going into the community, see what we can find, and have a rip-roaring good time? Let's start with the unreplied, see if we can launch a few new discussions and jump right in and get something going. Customer service management is at the top of the list. This is not one of my specialty areas, unfortunately. I would like to learn more about this, but at the moment I'm focused on custom applications, integrations, and the platform in general so that I can keep bringing you that wonderful information as we go into London and Madrid and keep tabs on what's coming and give you everything from new APIs that I think are useful to new core platform features that can speed up your job and make you more efficient. How to integrate MobileIron with ServiceNow? Good question. Good question. As far as mobile goes, I believe Kingston or London. I have to double check this. It might be London where we start truly supporting, what do they call it? Mobile data application. I can't remember the acronyms, MDA and MDI or MDS or something like that. Someone can correct me on that. It's just escaping me because it's still only 6 a.m. for me. I do the show weekly as often as I can, Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. UTC. So got to get all that in there. In case you haven't watched before, thank you. ServiceNow mobile app Okta two-factor authentication, REST API to ServiceNow using OAuth and ADFS. OAuth is one of those interesting beasts. I equate it to putting doors in your house. Okay, you can go to the local home DIY shop and purchase a pre-hung door. That's already on the frame. The hinges are on. It's squared. But putting it into the frame, every door jamb is a little bit different. And there's a finesse that goes with that. OAuth is the same way. Yeah, it's got a definition around it. And you know you need a token, and you use that token to authenticate. But every OAuth is different. Do you need a policy? Do you need a access token? Is there what's the refresh token? It's a little different in how each vendor implements it. So it gets a little crazy in the way that you do that. I am planning later this year to have a Tech Now episode on authentication, but we'll see if OAuth makes it into that agenda or not. Push notification not working. I have not done a whole lot with push notifications. Let's see what they're looking for. I know of them, but I have not had an experience where I could actually send one to a mobile device or a browser. I'm trying to implement push notification in my environment, but I don't know what I am missing on that it does not works. I did the below steps. 1, push action. I am using the already existing push action for approval and reject. Push message. Define the push message. Catalog approval request was in the system already. 3, added the message in my notification. What? Is there anything else I need? So push notifications record is empty. You know what? I'm going to stay subscribed to that one because I want to learn more about it. So if anybody does contribute to that conversation, I'll get notified. Linting our code. Let's see what this one is about. I'm trying to integrate ServiceNow with a linting tool such as ESLint or JSLint to enforce standard and custom best practices. I can see ServiceNow embeds CodeMirror, which has an ESLint plugin. Is there documented or undocumented way of adding our configuration to the CodeMirror instance? I thought Explore had a lint operation in it. So I'm on the developer community, and Share, as I mentioned in the last couple of days, is now moved over to developer. I don't see all of my applications over there yet, but I do want to see if Explore made it over there with no E. Explore Developer Toolkit. Let's take a look at that. Very handy thing that James Neal had made a few years ago. And click to follow this project. Download version 405. Let's see what's in here. Helsinki, Istanbul, Jakarta, and Kingston. He has been keeping it up to date. Good for him. So I've got the update set. I'm going to go to my personal developer instance and go to retrieve. Never mind that code that's in script's background. I was working on something prior to the show starting. Somebody had a question about duration fields, and I was tinkering. Let's do import set from XML. Choose the file. Should be in my downloads folder. There it is, right at the top. Explore Dev Toolkit 4.5. Once that's done, we'll upload it. This will take a second, but I'll show you what Explore does. If you are a developer, you might find this very helpful. And as you saw in script's background, all we're given is a script field. There's very little debugging you can do. There's very little diagnostics you can do. It's pretty bare bones. Explore builds on that and makes it easier to do these script development things. It is in the global scope. I'll do the preview update set real quick, make sure it doesn't have any issues. I am on Kingston. This was certified on Kingston. Well, certified is a loose word. It was tested on Kingston. So we're good to go. I will commit that update set. And while we wait, take a drink of the old herbal tea. Well, that loaded quicker than expected. Not much of a break there. I commit it. And I'm going to refresh my browser because it should add some little glasses up there. There they are. Explore, these little glasses are how you launch Explore. And you can see immediately we've got line numbers. There's some formatting. There's also some tools over here that you can use. And I thought, let's see, settings, show quotes, object properties. That's cool. He's really done a lot of good work on this. String values, wrap lines, fixed logs. I don't see anything about lint. Should probably have looked in the documentation for that. Explore lint. No hits on lint. Ratings and reviews. Update set processor. Da 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 da. Okay, it does open in a new tab. I've got my output. The output will be on a different screen than your actual script. I can take a look at the user data. I can test regular expressions in here. Very nice way to do this if you want to take a look at it. Just look for Explore with no leading E, X-P-L-O-R-E, from James Neal on the Share portal, which is now embedded into developer.servicenow.com. Handy dandy tool of the day. Probably don't want to put that in prod. That appears to pop out to a new window, even though I already am in a new window. Okay, back to the thanks, script editor, user, congrats, script editor, user data. Let's see if there's any lint in here. Press Control Enter to run. There is a scope chooser in here, so you can choose any of the scopes, just like you can with the scripts background chooser. I'm gonna look for lint in here. No lint. All right. Well, I'm not gonna be able to add much to that. But the other thing tells me this question has been asked before. JS lint. I'm just gonna look for JS lint and see what I can find in the community. Client-side alternative to eval, update set lint for best practice review. Interesting. When was that posted? Last updated 2 years ago. I'll open a tab for that. Take a look at it in just a second. On submit, too many errors, JSON constructor, just kind of scanning. Update set for lint. This looks like a repeat. Something tells me we've got a search engine issue. JSON as a constructor. All right. Anyone else having deja vu in this thing? Let's see. Linting our code. That's the one that we were just looking at. Has anyone developed a lint tool? And the answer is, I've checked the store and share and found nothing related to JS lint. Apparently, I replied to this a while ago, and somebody marked it as correct. I still don't see anything. You know what? The store 2 years ago is different than the store today. Store.servicenow.com is where you can go to look for fully fledged certified applications. I'm not trying to be an advertisement here this morning, but I'm looking for answers. Telling you where I got them. So let's look for lint first. Call center solution. That doesn't look... How would lint come out of here? I'm curious. There's no lint on that page. JS lint. Nothing. Okay, so there's still nothing on the store. Let's look on share for JS lint. Nothing. Let's look for ESLint. Nothing. Let's look for just lint. Nothing. Okay, my searching skills are not panning out this morning. Good morning, Steve. Good to see you. Hope you're having a wonderful day. As it starts to wrap down, I'm going to put in the same thing I did before. I just looked at the store and share portal and don't see anything related to ESLint or JSLint. Where did you find the information? Or where did you... He said he found something in the code. I'm trying to integrate and force, but I can see ServiceNow embeds Code Mirror. Where did you find the info on Code Mirror? If I can find that out, I might be able to track down a product manager who can tell me more information about that. Let's find out. Okay, back to where we were. Main community page. Good morning, Shodi, or is it Shoddy? You can tell me. You got a good group of people today. Duplicate problem getting created. I think we all have enough problems. We don't need more problems. Make form read-only on service portal after submit. Let's take one thing at a time here. Hello, I have a requirement of auto-closing problem. Only all the tasks is getting closed. I am able to get the required if I use sysID of the problem, hard-coded. But when I run the BR, I think I can see where this is going. Condition after state changes to closed. You're running it on the problem task. It's not enough details, Rajesh. Where is the problem? I not quite following this. Business rule should run on the problem task table if it isn't already. And he's looking for current.problem. Is it parent or is it problem? Let's look real quick at problem.list. What is the field that ties a parent task? Oops, I want to get the parent problem task table. Take a look at the problem task table. This is often the way I do it. I just start looking at the table and then take a look at the dictionary. We don't have any problem tasks, so let's create one. And it ties to the parent problem with the problem field. Okay, so it's not parent, even though problem task is extended from task, there is a parent field on task. Some processes use that, some have their own. So problem is the issue with linking to the task table is when you do that, all you get is the task fields. So if you have something specific on problem that you wanted, you're not going to find it, like RFC. Not going to be able to get that if your reference field points to task. There's no RFC field on task. So that's often why you'll see a specific field linking to a specific task subclass. All right. Oh, Steve's got the right idea on Friday. Glass of wine and barbecue. I'm headed for that probably tomorrow. Actually, it'll be beer and a barbecue. Where was I going with this? Oh, yeah. So let's take a look at his script again. You want all the problems. Well, your current sysID is in quotes. That's probably your biggest problem. Your biggest problem is that current.problem.sysID is in quotes. Additionally, you don't need to walk to sysID since current.problem is already a sysID. Try this. Okay, PML task, get rid of that. Say current.getValue. You know me, I'm a stickler about getValue. Had to make an exception yesterday and I felt so dirty. Somebody's probably already jumped on that while I was talking to you people. No! For the reply, do that. Let's see if there's anything else that jumps out at me in this. Auto sysfield's false. Why do you not want to stamp the parent when it changes? Auto sysfields is a method that says don't mess with the system maintained fields. Updated by, that kind of thing. You could also miss this in the activity history as well. So got to be careful when you use that one. I referred somebody to it this morning for a specific reason, and I'll get to that in a little bit. Here comes the dawn chorus. The garbage trucks are coming around. We have a user-defined table uKnowledge favorite, and I wanted to give access for report on table uKnowledge favorite for managers. Please suggest. Okay, you want to give access, you make it readability to everybody. You have a user-defined table. What's a user-defined table? Not sure what you mean by user-defined table. If you want to give reporting access to a table, make sure the grant access to everyone. Make sure the read ACL on that table has no conditions, no roles, and no script. That way it is said to be open access, and anyone can report on it. Ding, 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 ding. Probably should have put some links in there for ACLs. I can edit that real fast. I do have links for that. Was that it? No, security. That's it. Thank goodness for text expander. My friend saves me all kinds of time. Schedule mobile notifications. I'll take a look. Mobile notifications, interesting. I have a manager ask me if they can change when the mobile notification pops up. They want them to pop up from 5 p.m. to 5 a.m., but not anytime outside those hours. They want all their email notifications to remain untouched. Interesting. Let me think about this. In the notifications, what are our options for subscriptions, for filtering, for talking about push notifications? It would have to be push notifications if it's going to the mobile devices. Let's see. Let's see. You could potentially, when to send, you could add a condition that says, what? Created? If the live feed message, for example, is every record's going to have a created, and the notification will follow shortly after that, but maybe updated. Updated. Can you do the JavaScript thing in here? Is between. That's not going to let me do the. Interesting. Looking for thoughts on this. If anybody's got any ideas, we might have to script something, but I don't know how we would get that into the date builder here. These are all fixed, finite. I don't see a dynamic in here. I don't see a way to script the condition either. If the push notification is based on the event being fired, you could possibly find out where that event is being fired and put a parameter around that to check the date. That would be my only thought. Don't see a way to put filtering like you suggest in the condition builder on the push notification. The condition builder on the push notification. If the notification is triggered by an event, you could we did this off SLA and schedules. Can't we put some conditions in the advanced? Let me look. You're looking for advanced? Is there there's a default view? I'm already. Oh, advanced condition. You're right. I'm looking right at it. Silly boy. Yeah, I like that. Thanks for pointing me to the obvious. Like, hey, Chuck, look down like 2 more lines. Excellent suggestion. Thank you. You could potentially set up some script in the advanced conditions. I feel like a silly person for not seeing that. How many times has that happened to you? It's on the screen and your eyes just aren't seeing it. Conditions to determine if the current time is in that window you state. If so, what do you return? True? False? What's the deal here? Yeah. You return a Boolean in the answer variable. You return a true Boolean in the answer variable. Okey-doke. Get the current time, find out if it's between those hours, not too difficult. Probably give them the glide date time reference to figure out how to do that. All right. Thank you very much. +1 for Deborah Basu. Let's do a quick refresh on that. We are almost done with the new threads portion of this show. I'd like to spend about 20-30 minutes on that. How to submit cart after adding items to shopping cart using automatic test framework. Proceed to checkout test step is not available in Jakarta. I thought catalog was added. I might be thinking of something else, but I thought catalog support was added to Kingston. Let's go to the docs and let's take a look at the release notes. Release notes and upgrades. And hopefully I will find something in here about ATF. Changes by product, platform, ATF. Wow, gotta love the docs site for being able to intuitively find that stuff. Activation information, ability to run test failed, getting started with ATF for more information. Okay, doesn't say, hey, here's where we support catalog. Let's do this. Go to Jakarta. All right. Let's go back to the beginning. Easier this way. Excuse me. Didn't hit the mute button fast enough. Features by product, platform, ATF. Choice of browser, screenshot, test suite, compare. Let's look for catalog. Service catalog test steps. There we are. Service catalog, open a catalog item, search, set, validate. Saying submit isn't available? Checkout. That's fine. We'll put that away. I got too many tabs open right now. Can't figure out what's going on. Checkout. Service catalogs tab out. Order catalog item. That looks like the one. Clicks order now from catalog item. According to the Jakarta docs, it's in there. Open catalog item, set variables, add a shopping cart. I want to have a proceed to checkout and submit. According to the docs, order item, is that what it was called? Order catalog item. Order catalog item is the step you want. All right. ATF, great stuff. Again, that's the second time it gets a prominent mention. Paste that link in. You know what? I'm kind of getting to like the keyboard shortcuts or being able to tab and hit enter through some of this stuff. That way, if I ever lose my vision, I'll be all set. Have a good day, Steve. Have a great weekend. Thanks for joining us, at least for a little while. Wouldn't be the same without you. All right, let's find another quick unreplied one that we can reply to. Then I'll scan through some of the stuff that's recently been replied and see if we can contribute anything to those discussions. Push notification not working. We already looked at that. Personalized weak range in reports. What does that mean? How do I create a frequency of reports where the duration is between Friday evening and Monday morning? That's an interesting question. That's an interesting question, and I am interested in what the answer is, so I'm going to subscribe to that one. Chat queue, event management. Event management should probably go off into the ITOM section. This is in developer community. Service mapping definitely belongs in the ITOM stuff. How can I send a variable in ServiceNow via dialog flow with post method? There are some character issues. I'll say there's character issues. This is in the member feedback. We do have a forum specifically for the community called member feedback. So if you've got a question or comment about the ServiceNow community software itself, you can put it into the member feedback. And if you can't find that off the top of your head, you go to all forums and it will be there. Since the new community layout has come, I'm seeing my name with some special characters. Please see the following. That's interesting. How does it appear in the profile? Looks like there's an umlaut above the I. Have you gone into your profile and set the display name there? I would assume so, because that doesn't look like a handle. But you know what they say about assumptions. I go into community profile. One of those things in there. Waiting. You see the dots flipping around. I can edit the profile and then edit my name, which is near the top. It's just in here the other day. Waiting. And the display name is right there. Hopefully I'm not releasing any confidential information by showing you my profile. Don't think so. So let's put a thing in there, 17 views. I was listening to a podcast yesterday called How Stuff Works. Tech Stuff. It's on the How Stuff Works network with Jonathan Strickland. And he was talking about the early days of eBay and how they, back in the early to mid 90s, when it was still called Auction Web on the eBay site, it was kind of interesting. You got to go back and listen to the whole history. They didn't have enough employees at the time to support Auction Web, and they added a community, a forum, which was very common in the late 80s, early 90s, well, even today. But to allow users to help other users. It was kind of fun. Like, what is the best way to ship a package? He's got some interesting random history about that too. If you're interested in that kind of thing, Tech Stuff is a fun podcast to listen to. And with any luck, I'll get to see Jonathan at DragonCon in September. UI action and UI policy. I have made a UI action and UI policy for my custom incident form. Good for you. I want the state field of my custom form to be changed to on hold state from in progress state, stating that my custom incident table is extended from the task table, so the state field is from task table, but I don't want the values in the task table state fields. I want incident form state values in custom form. Here is the UI action, UI policy, respectively. I had changed the value. I can solve this in open and resolve close values of 10, 11, 12, 13, respectively. Okay, UI policy. I'm not sure what the UI policy and UI, if you want, oh, there's 2 replies to this already. Make changes in the UI action as follows. Current state 12, show replies, any updates. If you want one table to use the choice list fields from another table field, you can do that at the dictionary level. E.g., set your custom incident table dot state to point to the choices in incident.state. Very simple. Oh, the only hard part is I can't remember what episode number it was. 43? Let's go find out. TechNow, you know what? I'm just going to open a new tab because my browser history remembers TechNow episode list. There it is. And somewhere down here, I have choice lists mentioned. 1 of 2, 2 of 2. Episode 48 is the answer. Let's copy that link address. And I believe it was around 7.5 minutes that we did that. I just quoted it yesterday. Check out the community quick tip in episode 48. Is that what I just said? Holy short-term memory problems. Episode 48 of Tech Now. Start around 7:30 mark. Paste. New window. Done. Post. Ring the bell. First I had to find the bell to ring the bell. Okay, that was posted a while ago. Because he said any update. Well, 21 hours. Any updates? Yeah. Time has passed. Quick check to see if there's anything new in the inbox. One new one in the inbox. Let's take a quick look, keep that conversation going while we're still on the air. How to submit to the cart. I had said use that step. There's a reply. They said, I'm not able to submit to the cart. Wait, forgot when you expand it goes down here. I'm looking for a solution. Used proceed to checkout option after adding the items to the cart. Okay, I don't see that. You might be able to build your own custom step. I know you can script things, but I don't have an answer for that one. Let's see, I'm going to respond. I don't have an answer for that specifically. If you cannot use the checkout, is that what I called it before? Order catalog item. Order catalog item step, check with customer support. See what they have to say. Another reply, another day. Let's go to the notes for today. And of course, I probably closed them. I don't know why. We talked about all that at the top of the show. Cool things you can get in the developer screen. We talked about events and meetups. Incident activity report. This was an interesting one that came up yesterday. And I was looking for more information. I got more information and replied. So they said, where is the incident activity logged? So when you look at an activity, or excuse me, an incident, for example, or any other task record that has the incident, the record activity in the activity history, you can see this. And they said, I asked, what do you want to do? What are you after? Go to the right tab here. Not the TechNow episode list. Not share. This one. He said, my team wants to know how to run incident activity report on state. Where are states records saved in ServiceNow platform? The response is the states are saved with all the other record history in the history table, but we don't allow you to report on that for performance reasons. That would be a problem. The history and the audit logs get very long very quickly. What I do recommend or suggested is take a look at metrics. First of all, just looking at that report, if all you did was, hey, find anything where the state changes. All you would see is state goes from in progress to on hold to, it doesn't really tell you a whole lot. You could possibly put in the date it was changed. But again, what are you going to draw out of that? My recommendation is take a look at metrics. Metrics are a very common feature for many of the ITSM platforms, packages, and it says, I want to know when the state goes to this and doesn't go to that. So you could say it was in the on hold or awaiting user information for an average of 3 days. That's information you can use and say, why is it taking 3 days on average for people to get back to us when we put it in this state? What can we do to prompt people? When it goes to approval, this particular record, maybe they're interested in that. So try to give more value add information out of what they're trying to do. This is a very non-descriptive requirement, we'll say. How do I report on the state? You can do that, but tell me what the business requirement is here. What is this report going to do? What is it going to tell somebody? Make sure you, as a developer, as an administrator, understand what those business drivers are underneath the hood. If somebody comes up to you and says, I need a report on a state, they've already come up with a solution in their head, but they're not telling you what that is, what the requirement behind that solution is. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Very important that you, as the developer, as the administrator, understand why. If you don't, ask. If you don't ask, you're not doing any service for them. They can go get somebody else to blindly implement requirements. Don't implement requirements blindly. It adds to increased maintenance down the road. It adds to increased frustration. It adds to customization and upgrade issues, and you're probably doing things you really shouldn't. Now, ask in the community if this is advisable, if it's possible. What is the level of effort? Is it a trivial thing that I can use with just setting fields or make a table, or is it something that's going to require a lot of scripting? If it requires scripting, then you return back to that person and say, here's what I found from subject matter experts. It's going to take effort, or it's a very trivial thing. Yes, we can do this. So do your research. Obviously, somewhere somebody's asking you for an estimate on time, and if you don't understand why and what and where, you're not going to be able to give that estimate accurately, and then the project's out of the water. It just gets to be a big mess. So, word from the old wise programmer, at least I like to hope I'm wise. I'm older and a little wiser after doing many years of doing this in various platforms, various languages. The baseline equation is still the same. You as a developer, you as an administrator have a responsibility. It should be on your job description that says, asks for requirements when they're not clear. Don't just get a technical requirement. Say, hey, can we put a field on this form? Do I sound a little passionate about this stuff? It's because I am. I've seen too many people get in trouble, and then I've seen customers get mad when they say, hey, you know what? We've customized the explicative out of this, and we don't like it anymore. It's not performing as we expected. That's because somebody didn't do their job up front. There's a better way. There's a right way and a wrong way. I can take any software package and make it behave badly, even Excel. That's not difficult. That doesn't mean Excel is a problem. It means that somebody's not understanding the proper way to do this, the proper way to implement this, and they're causing those types of problems. Okay, case made. I'm moving on. That was my rant about what do you need to do. Take a look at metrics. Again, they've been there for practically forever. If you're familiar with SLAs, metrics are sort of the dumb little brother of SLAs. SLAs measure and warn, and you can report on them and say, hey, it breached. It means you've got a threshold on something. How long does it take to close this, to get it to a closed state, to get it active equals false, whatever you want to do? That's a measurement, and you can put a workflow behind SLAs. Metrics are simply measuring things. It took us, as I mentioned before, it took us 3 days to go from starting this on hold to off hold state, or approval took 7 days. How do we cut that down? How do we measure that? It's just a simple measurement. It's putting things into the metrics table that you can later report on. What you do with that information is completely up to you. Whew. You know how long it would take to type that if I had to type that into the community? Therein lies the value of this show, I think, to some. All right, record numbering. This came up yesterday as well. They said, hey, congratulations, we finally rolled over 1 million records in our incident table. The only problem now is they're sorting differently because the number field is a string. And if you sort it, it will sort alphabetically, which means 1 million is going to come before the older messages. And the older messages filled up, I think they had 6 digits. So 999, 999, and then 1 million is 7 digits. 1 comes before 9. So they're saying all of our old messages are gradually getting further and further down the list when we sort A to Z. Kind of crazy. I mean, older incidents. I said messages, excuse me. Kind of wacky. I ran into this as a customer. Originally, get this, the incident number, and this is handled in number maintenance. I think we looked at this yesterday, did we not? We go to number maintenance and take a look at, I think it defaults to 7 now. Prefix is incident. And here's my incident record. It says I have by default 7 digits. Now they might be a very old customer. Originally this was 5 or 6. I think it was 5 because I remember running into a problem when we started getting up there. No, it was 6. It was 6 and I boosted it up to 7 and ran into this exact same problem. I said, we got to 100,000, whatever it was, a million, and suddenly the sorting is out of whack. So I said, well, first bump this up to 7 or 8 or 9 so you've got some leading zeros and this doesn't happen again for 10 or 100 or 1,000 years. That'd be nice, right? If you could pad your way out of that. And nobody really cares about the leading zeros. You ever look at some of the case numbers on like a Verizon call? There's about 20 digits in there. Who cares, right? They usually just go by the last 6 anyway. So first step is increase your number maintenance to the number of digits bigger than what you've got right now so you can get some zeros padded on there. To fix the sorting problem, you need to go through and renumber these. And I wrote this person a handy dandy little script. It should be in the message right there. I'm looking for it. Too many tabs again. That's the metrics one. Here's the incident reporting. I said, what you need is a script to do the renumbering. You can go and fix your record numbering. And they said, well, how do I get this? Because it's still not sorting right, which means it's not auto padding these. It's not auto renumbering them. So you have to go do this manually. And I wrote a script that instantiates a glide record on the incident table. It gets all the records, but set limit 5 is for testing. I only want to test this on 5 records. Do this in dev, do this in scripts background. And set limit is a way to put guardrails on it. So if this thing runs out of control, it's only ruining 5 records at a time. I did put a disclaimer on here that this script has not been tested. If you undo the set limit 5 and you've got 1 million records to do, you're going to be there a while. Be patient. Let it go. Okay. Then for every record that it finds, out of those initial 5, I say set workflow false, turn off any workflows or business rules so that it doesn't run adjacent logic to this. You're not triggering something to happen that you don't want to happen. Okay. This is just, I'm only going to update this record. Stay away from me the rest of the platform. Auto sysfields, as I mentioned before, stops the, I'll get it, stops the automated fields from updating. Sys updated by, mod count, those fields that get updated every time you update a record, even if you don't think you're doing anything else, you are updating those. That way, if you're running a report on what's been updated this week, all 1 million records don't come up and say, hey, you've had 1 million records, and it screws up reports. Okay. This keeps you away from that. Force update true. If there is nothing to update on a record, it will still do a commit. It will refresh that information. Now, I am changing something. I'm changing the number field. This really isn't necessary, but I did want to include it here for completeness sake. Then I extract the number value. It will say INC 99999. Take out the INC part so that you just get the 9999999. I don't know how many that was, but it sounded good. Then turn it into an actual number because it is still a string. It came from a string. It was replaced as a string. It's still a string. I need an actual number that I can pass to this pad function that I stole blatantly off of Stack Overflow to pad the zeros. Okay, if you don't tell it a character to pad with, it defaults to 0, which is really nice. And then it goes through Oh, crap. I just discovered a problem. It's using n.length, which means the number's not going to work. It does need to be a string. I'm going to change that. Hopefully they didn't try to implement this yet. I did say it was untested, right? But I noticed that n.length is used down here, which means there's no length property to a number as far as I know. So we can take this part out and pass in, come on, I want to edit that thing. There's my little editor. I want to take this part out. Don't turn it into a number. And instead of passing in count, pass in IncNum. All right, the rest of this script, got to reduce my font so I can hit that OK button. Ooh, look, coloring till I save it. Then it pads out the string up 7 digits. If they did 8, do 8. If they did 9, do 9. And then puts the INC back on the front end and updates the record. That's all there is to it. It's not that sophisticated. It's just getting a record, pulling out that number, padding it with another 0 or 2 or 3, and putting it back together. Okay. This was a thread started months and months ago, but it still continues because somebody's got a question. So hopefully they'll find that useful. That is record numbering. One more to do, and this was another script to write that had to do with the record being updated. They said when a request item gets a work note from an approver, now they say from the approver or by approver, okay, keep in mind you can have multiple approvers on any record. I could use a approval group, and there's maybe 1, maybe 7, maybe 14 approvers that could be part of this. They want to know if one of those approvers makes a work note, create a record in another custom table. They didn't give me the name of the custom table, so I made an attempt to write a script for them, and it goes like this. First, I made a script include to get that logic of, are you an approver for this task? And it goes through the sysapproval approver table and says, get the sys of the task. Should have used get value there, but I didn't. I can change it real quick, but I'm explaining and I'm running low on time. Get the sys of the task and find all approval records for this task. So if I'm looking at a request item, it will pull up all approvers for that request item. Then use the user ID, which I will pass in as a sys also. It's in the case of me, it would be my sys. Find any and all records. If you have a record that matches that criteria, we win. You're an approver. I don't care what state that approval's in, but you are an approver for that record, and it will return a true false with has next. It doesn't even retrieve the records. It just says, are there records to have? Okay, then your business rule would look something like this. Run it on the request item after any insert or update where the current work notes changes, means somebody added work notes, and here's where I call the script include. My approval utils is approver, current is the current record, so I could use this on incidents, I could use it on problems, I could use it on changes. If that's what you want to do, you can reuse this logic. And gs.getUserID is my sys, whoever's running the browser at that moment. If that condition passes, this says if the work notes changes and you are an approver, then go create a record in that other table. I even called it your other table. Very fun. Woohoo! Now, proposed changes, we'll see what comes back. The challenge with writing scripts in messages like this is that they often come back and say, it doesn't work. Well, yes, because there is no table called your approval table. Put your approval in here. And unfortunately, anyway, I won't get into that. If you have problems with scripts, make sure you include what you did, the new version of the script that you write. Put that back in the community so people can see what's working, what's not, because you modified it. It's not the same as what I gave you. You may have put a sys in quotes. That throws everything all off, or a sys a variable or a field name in quotes. Not quite the same. Then we can debug that. Any error messages that you got are also very helpful. Screenshots, immensely helpful. So another chunk of community etiquette there for you if you used that before. All right, that takes me to the end. Thank you very much for everybody who joined me. I hope you had a wonderful Friday. If you learned something, you liked something, you found something helpful, click the like button on this video, and others will be able to find it easily as well. Until Monday, I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I hope you learned something. And if you learned something, be sure to share it, because that will make you a rock star, a helpful, an expert, and I am out. Have a great weekend, everybody. Bye.